Hi everyone, and welcome to this video where we're going to look at the lattice method of multiplication. This is a method that I wasn't taught when I was at school, but my children have been taught it in their 5th year of primary school, so grade 4, grade 5, and then used it in grade 6. And then a lot of my other students that I teach have been taught this method at around year 5 as well. The lattice method is a really good visual method of multiplying. It's sometimes called the Chinese method or the Italian method because it's been around for a very long time and has been useful for people to get their head around this concept. So if you're a parent and you haven't seen this method before, but your child might be using it, this will be a great video to help you help them. And if you're a student and you're watching this video to learn how to do the lattice method of multiplication, then I encourage you to watch it all through once and then maybe watch it again and pause it and really get your head around each step. And then at the end, I would recommend that you do some practices on your own as well. Okay. I'm going to remove my face from the corner of the screen so that we can really focus on what we're doing. Okay, so here we go. The first thing I would always do with any kind of computation is to create an estimate to help me see whether my answer at the end is within the ballpark of what I would expect. This helps us avoid making really silly mistakes like putting an extra 0 in somewhere or leaving a place value out of an answer. So if we have an idea about what we're aiming for, then we can judge our final answer and check it. So over on the left-hand side of this screen, you can see where I've estimated my solution to this problem, 24 times 56 or 24 multiplied by 56. And what I've done is I've rounded those two numbers to create a really broad estimate. So I've rounded 24 down to 20 because numbers that have 4 or less will round down to the nearest 10. And then I've also rounded 56 up to 60 because 6 is more than halfway to the next 10. So I'm rounding up to 60. So my two rounded numbers are 20 and 60. And if you have a look at the way I've written them there on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that underneath the tens column in each number, the 2 and the 6, I've underlined those in a blue. And under the two zeros, I've underlined those in red. We're going to take the two numbers that are underlined in blue and do a times table or a number fact to work out the answer for the multiplication of those two tens columns only. So 2 times 6. That's pretty easy, a lot easier than trying to keep track of all the zeros in our mind. So 2 times 6 is 12. Then I'm going back to the numbers that I used in my estimate, 20 and 60, and remembering that we underlined the zeros in red. I'm now going to count how many zeros I have, and that will tell me how many zeros I need to add to the end of my number for my estimate. So 20 has a 0 and 60 has a 0. So that's 2 zeros altogether, and I'm going to put them at the end of the 12. So my estimate for this answer, 24 times 56, is going to be 1,200. Now the next thing we want to do is set our lattice method up, ready to be used. So we draw 4 boxes. Now these are quite easy to do if you're using a grid book, but you can also use lined paper and create your boxes that way, or you can even just start from scratch on blank paper and create your boxes and then run some dotted lines diagonally down through them, the way that you can see in the picture on the screen from corner to corner. And it's really important that you do have them each box split equally into 2 parts, and you'll see why as we go. Then on the top of the boxes, on the horizontal axis, we're going to put the 2 and the 4. So the tens column will go in the first, on top of the first set of boxes, the first column, and the 4 will go on the second column. And then I'm going to use the other side, the vertical on the right-hand side of the boxes, to write my other number, 56. I'm going to put the tens value first, the 5 at the top, and then the 6 below. Okay, so if we had a 3-digit number or even bigger, we do the same thing. We just make more boxes and we make each of our numbers align above one column or beside one row. the way that they are there. Okay, now we're going to move on to the first part of solving this. We're going to start in that top right-hand corner, and we're going to use the 4 and the 5. You can see which box I'm going to put the solution here in, and it's the one that is highlighted in yellow, the top right-hand quadrant. So I'm going to do 4 times 5 first, which is 20. And I'm going to write that answer in the box like that, with the 2 on one side of the dotted line and the 0 on the other side of the dotted line. But you can see that the number still looks like 20. The 2's still on the left, the 0's still on the right, but we have split them up with that dotted line. It's going to be important, and you'll see why. Then we do the next column over to the left, the tens column, but we stay with that 5 in the number on the vertical column. And this time, then we're going to do 5 times 2, or 2 times 5. The answer to that is 10, and you can see that I've put the answer in that top left quadrant, and I've split that one as well by place value. The tens column going above the dotted line, and the ones going below the dotted line. And again, the answer still looks like 10, but we have that dotted line splitting the two numbers up. Now we move to the 4 in the 24 along the top, but we move down to the 6 on the vertical. So we're going to have 6 times 4, or 4 times 6, which is 24. And I'm going to put that answer in the bottom right quadrant. In the same way that I did with the top 2 boxes, I'm going to split it by place value. So the 20, the 2 representing the 20 goes above the dotted line, and the 4 goes below the dotted line. And then finally, and you've probably guessed this, we need to use the other 2 numbers in the combination we haven't done yet. The 2 along the top and the 6 down the side. 6 times 2, or 2 times 6, which gives us 12. And again, we're going to split that by place value with the tens column above the dotted line and the ones column, or the units, below the dotted line. Now, we've got all our numbers into the grid. All we need to do is add. And I've heard this described as going down a slide. So we go underneath the dotted line here. I hope you can see the cursor. And we're going to put all the numbers that will be under this dotted line at the end of the dotted line here. So in that column, we only have a 4. Then we're going to go down this next column. We have 0, we have 2, and we have 2 between those 2 dotted lines. So 2 plus 2, and we add at this stage. So we're adding 2 plus 2 brings us at the bottom of that slide, or that it could be like a chute, you could call it. They come out together, added together to create 4. We move over to the next column between this dotted line and this dotted line. Coming down there, we have 2 plus 0, which is 2, plus 1, which is 3, brings us to the 3. And then finally here, above this dotted line, just the 1. Then I'm going to circle those numbers, 1, 3, 4, 4, and that creates our solution. 24 times 56 is 1,344. Now you'll remember our estimate from the first slide was 1,200. So while this number isn't the same as our estimate, it is fairly close. It's a 4-digit number. The thousands column has a 1, and it's within a couple of hundred of the estimate that we had, which suggests that our answer is going to be right. I hope that's been helpful. Feel free to go back and watch that process again. I'd love it if you could like this video if it's been helpful. Subscribe to the channel so that you get further updates for Mathematics Mondays, could be Multiplication Mondays, English on Thursdays, and also trivia on Sundays, as well as other videos on important topics from time to time. Don't forget to hit the bell if you do subscribe so that you're notified when new videos go up. Thank you so much. I hope it's been helpful. Have a great week.